Hello, it's Tamara Hunter, and today is day number 205 of 365 Days of Awesome. Celebrate success through service. And yes, your eyes are not deceiving you. We have two service heroes today. And in fact, these are two service heroes I have been trying to schedule for the last month or more. So I am so extremely excited, and let me share why. These two people, as young as you may see that they are, I don't usually talk about age, but I am doing that on purpose because I am so impressed by these two. We have Ashton and Brittney. They're a married couple, and I'm not going to go into all of it, but the bottom line is they're entrepreneurs and they're going all out. They're going out big, and they're going out big in an area that is so important to me and to the Chemo Buddy for Life community. So I just want to say welcome.
Awesome. Thank you for that intro. That was so great.
Well, you guys are spectacular. We met at Sammy Drizzy's event in San Diego, and it was really interesting. I'd been hearing a lot of buzz about the two of you, but I wasn't sure who you were. It was like I kept hearing, oh, you've got to meet these two. They've got like this really cool thing going on and everything. And then Brittney, I think you and I visited, and then I started making the connection. It's like, whoa. And then you got up and spoke, Ashton, and I was like, okay, you two are so spectacular that I'm so impressed, and I want to know more. So let's spill the beans. What it is that you're doing.
Absolutely.
Before we go into that, I want to just kind of cover, Brittney, what is your day job?
So I'm an oncology nurse. So right now I'm working in radiation, but for the last 5 years I've done chemotherapy infusion. So I have had the honor of working with all chemo patients. So oncology has been my go-to for the last 5 years as an oncology nurse.
What made you choose that area of nursing?
It was I did like a medical residency where I went to different units 1 week at a time. So I was in all the different specialties, and I just kind of fell in love with oncology. I got matched to the unit, and then I was working night shift, so it wasn't quite like the best representative, but I think it gave me a good experience of getting to know that patient population, getting to actually like sit in the rooms a little bit more because there's not as many visitors late at nighttime and stuff like that. So it gave me the chance to really sit down and develop those relationships. And then I just kind of fell in love with the oncology population from there.
We're a lovable group, don't you think?
That's pretty awesome. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Let's just left that wide open. I had to go there, some people don't get it, that we're actually sometimes a very fun group because we can joke at ourselves, right?
Oh, yeah. And you guys are kind of the population I think that I get the most inspired by, which is why I continually choose oncology. I have always had the opportunity to switch, but I'm like, no, these are the people that have the best attitudes. They've got the best outlook on life because they're fighting to stay in, and they're there for a reason. So that's why I love oncology patients. I think you guys are so inspirational, and you just have so much to share with the world.
Well, thank you. I actually agree with you. I mean, and I have to say that in all humility, because of the fact that, yes, I was one, but now working with the community of people that I work with my nonprofit, I continually am being introduced to a new story, a new person, a new way of looking at things. And it doesn't ever cease to amaze me how amazing this group is.
Oh, absolutely. So much to learn from each person's journey, each person's experience, and the way that everybody kind of lifts each other up. I don't think I've ever met somebody. I mean, you meet some people that are not very happy whether they have a cancer diagnosis or not. But there are some people, I think, that just have this ability to just uplift each other and just be like, you got this, you know, the whole team aspect, because you're kind of on the team you never wanted to be on, but you're there, so you might as well make the best of it.
Very well said. Very well said. You know, before we get to you, Ashton, we are going to, I just want to ask one more question, and that is, given the HIPAA rules, if you know, the thing that I noticed is that, yes, when you're in that chemotherapy room, it's kind of a weird situation. It's almost like a party room. It became one for my chemo buddy and I. They called us the party bus and double trouble, you know, so we had to live up to our reputation, right?
Obviously.
However, that's when they're out. The fact that so many of them don't always have that companionship. In fact, it's surprising to me because I have been both the patient and I've been the support person, the driver, if you will. And it has broken my heart more than many times. How many people are possibly even dropped off, or they feel like, okay, you know, I don't want to burden you, and go ahead and go, because there's that group too, and they're the ones that have always concerned me.
Mm-hmm.
And so with HIPAA, now I can't even go back into the chemotherapy room because of the fact that I have this show, that they're afraid that if I see someone and they see me and they think that, oh, I may say something, it may impede upon their security and their right to privacy. And so it gave me a whole new awareness of how vulnerable our community can be too. And so that's why I'm so thrilled that you have chosen oncology, given who you are, and that now you're doing what you're doing, and we're going to talk about that here soon. Because it's just, it's, I believe the more of us that can jump into the ring to support this population, the more we're going to see some amazing miracles come out, because I've already seen them, and it never ceases to amaze me how important it is to have that fighting spirit and that reason to live.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All right, Ashton.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know this answer, so I'm going to ask it, and then we're going to get into the main event. But what is it that you do for your day job?
So I run the company full time. So a lot of people don't know this, but actually I do our clothing company, and then at the same time I also do business consulting and coaching. So that is something that I do more on the part-time side of things. So I have a couple of clients that I help, and one of the big things that I really try to stress is the whole aspect of innovation, becoming more creative, becoming one of a kind, so that you're like the go-to person in your industry. Because a lot of times when I deal with most of the clients that I deal with are more service-based businesses, and you know, statistics are pretty crazy right now, where there is over 50% of the population will be a freelance or service-based business by the end of 2020. So, you know, it's getting very competitive out there. And so really what you need to do is you need to start becoming more innovative. And that's what I do with a lot of my clients. So that's what brings in the money while we try to, invest more heavily into our clothing company.
So let's go to that clothing company, or what I just called the main event.
Perfect.
So let's announce the name, and then I'm curious, how did you come up with the name? I think I may have figured it out. I think I may have, but I may be wrong. So I'm going to bring up your it's Yellow Thread Company. And I love the Y and a T. I mean, it's so simple and yet it's so distinct. How'd you come up with the name?
do you want to do the first half and then, me finishing it up later? Or?
Yeah. I was working on my Saturday. I was looking to see if I could find the quote in here. Can you find the quote? Absolutely. I was working on a Saturday and I was trying to think of a good name for the company. We had thought like ABC, like Ashton and Brittney, Port Access Apparel. We had a couple of different things. But for the life of us, we couldn't figure out what to name the company. So yellow is my favorite color. So we'll start out with that. But then the more I thought about it, everything for chemo is yellow. So like every time we do an IV, it's a tiny IV. So it's a 24 gauge. It's a yellow IV. All of our chemo bins are yellow. All of the chemo goes into yellow bags. And so pretty much everything associated with yellow has to do with like chemotherapy, but also the psychology behind the color yellow is just, it's very energetic. It's a very like thought through process. It's very positive, and happiness and sunshine. So that was like the psychology behind it, but also realizing like, oh, this is also the color of everything chemo. So,
I was a little right. I picked this out because I was thinking, okay, well, maybe it has something to do with the bright side, or that happy color.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, it was kind of funny because when we were first coming up with the name, we had a couple of business coaches that supported us along the way, and I remember we're like, oh hey, like what about ABC Apparel or whatever, because it just kind of rolled off the tongue. And our business coach said, well, that's cool and everything, but at the end of the day, it's not really, it's not memorable. It doesn't really bring anything to mind. And he's like, what about Purple Penguin or something?
Purple Elephant.
Oh, Purple Elephant. And we're like, what? We're like, okay, well, he's like, well, go somewhere along that line. Like put a picture in someone's head. And we're like, okay. And so Brittney's favorite color was yellow. So we went with yellow. And then Threads kind of came. Then Threads came a little bit later when she actually found a quote that really kind of epitomized what we tried to establish as a company, which is what I had to look up right now.
Yeah, the quote is, whatever you do, hold on to hope. The tiniest yellow thread will twist into an unbreakable cord. Let hope anchor you in the possibility that this is not the end of your story, that change will help bring you to peaceful shores.
So I like that.
That was kind of the quote that we're trying to twisting like hope and confidence into every thread. So that's kind of where a lot of our naming things came from.
Mm-hmm. That makes total sense. I knew that there had to be a story to the story, because that just seems to be everything about you guys. You really think everything out, and that's one of the reasons I'm so impressed. It's just,
thank you.
You're welcome. Everything that even in doing all the loading of the show and the little bit of research that I did over the time since we've met, it was like, wow, I really am absolutely impressed by you as individuals. And why don't you go into what it is that Yellow Thread Company is doing?
Absolutely. So Yellow Thread's company we're trying to be the #1 medically functioning fashion line. So we wanted to be the first company that ever come out that is both fashionable. So in a sense, we want to make sure that things are discreet, but also medically functional, so that it also served the purpose of helping the people that were wearing our tops. Mm-hmm. And so that's really been our mission and our vision going, moving forward, and utilizing these tools that are our clothing as a way for people to really get back their dignity, bring a sense of normalcy back into their lives in a time of uncertainty. And really, at the end of the day, build that sense of confidence back into their lives. We noticed that, there's wigs and prosthesis and other things out there, but there was nothing in the realm of clothing. So we decided we wanted to be that company that would step into that role.
Mm-hmm. And thank you for doing that. And we have someone that's actually recognizing you as the man or his man. We got Joseph Ortega, and he actually too. I'm sure Brittney, you're in there. Joseph, let's give Brittney a little love, okay? Wink, wink, friend. Okay, so You know what I'd love to do right now, because I'm a big believer in video. Thus, of course, we're doing a live right now. The video component, just to let you know, it does start a little slow. So it might be a little slower on the uptake, but it really still gives, I think, a really better picture of what's going on. And then we can discuss it that much more. So if you don't mind, I'm going to bring up your video that you have loaded on your main page, and we'll show it, and then we'll come and talk afterwards. Okay?
Awesome.
Cool.
All right.
Hi, my name is Brittney, and I have been an oncology nurse for the past 5 years. This means I've had the privilege of working with cancer patients and learning from them, and with the help of my amazing husband, Ashton, we're excited to bring you Yellow Threads. Yellow Threads brings you a lineup of fashionable and comfortable port access tops for women undergoing chemotherapy. Our products are committed to easy port access to ensure a safer procedure for infusion, stylish and fashionable top that you can wear for any occasion, and providing maximum comfort while you sit during your infusions and out in your life. Going through chemotherapy treatment is a tasking process. Yellow Threads aims to solve this by offering a very easy, quick port access top that is 100% stress-free for you as the customer and also your nurse. On the same importance, you deserve to look beautiful at all times. Why do you need to sacrifice style and comfort for subpar accessibility port tops? At Yellow Threads, we understand that you deserve a style top that you can feel amazing in, while also being resourceful for the time of getting your port accessed.
Although we made this brand with cancer patients top of mind, the versatility of this top stretches beyond those horizons. Patients that undergo dialysis, require central line access for home treatment, pacemakers, and long-term blood draw can also find use for our tops.
We've made it a mission to remain an American-based brand. Right now, we have products ready to go for women and girls, but we are super excited to be working on our plans for a men's and boys line. We are sourcing the highest quality materials and design styles created by our local American-based manufacturers and designers. This way, we can ensure quality control, communication, and simply the best of the best products for those who need it the most. With your kind donation, we can finally provide patients worldwide with a fashionable, stylish, and comfortable option for port access shirts.
We've made it a mission to give back to the cancer community by donating $5 of every purchase to cancer institutes and cancer research.
We hope that you'll join us on our mission to bring Yellow Threads to the thousands of patients across the world who need a better option. Any donation you have would be greatly appreciated. From all of us at Yellow Threads, thank you for your time.
All right. Wow, what'd you think of that? I mean, kind of cool that we can at least show it.
I appreciate that. That's awesome.
Thank you. I am so impressed. Now, I was thinking, okay, because my port, for anybody that doesn't understand, our ports, I had one, and mine, in fact, mine was right in this area right here. And that's a pretty common area, right, for a port placement. And for those that don't understand the need of a port, do you mind sharing that, Brittney?
Yeah, no, not at all. So some people will choose not to get a port, but the majority of patients we're going to be on treatment for longer than probably like 6 or 7 treatments. It just allows a really safe access to get the chemotherapy. So some people get it in an IV, but a lot of people who are going through treatments don't have very good veins. So by having a port, it prevents you from having any type of infiltration or any leaking of the fluid outside of that vein. So it's really just a much safer way to actually do the infusions. So it just goes to that little port that gets inserted in the hospital. It's an outpatient procedure, and then you're good to go until after your treatment. And then a lot of people do get it removed soon after, but you kind of get to choose how you want to do that.
Yes, and it's very convenient if it's breast cancer because it can be rolled into one of our surgeries.
Yes.
You know, because I wasn't going to opt for the port in the very beginning. However, it was surprising to me how quickly our veins can become problematic. And I know so many of that population, my friends that have had that problem. And my chemo buddy, my original chemo buddy, she actually chose not to have one. And every single time and we did infusions for a year and a half because we were on Herceptin, you know. So I was a year, she was a year and a half because she was rolled into a clinical study. And as every 3 weeks, guys, for a year and a half. And I drove after we were done with our active chemo. And sure enough, I'd go pick her up because we were in Riverside County. We'd go to Orange County. And I'd say, okay, we haven't had any coffee yet today. And she's going, and I'm like, okay, I think we have. So that is a problem, right? I mean, we can have coffee. Most of our doctors let us. However, we're supposed to wait until after we get that IV inserted, right?
Yeah. That's so funny.
Well, we at least want people to drink a bit of water since coffee tends to be a little bit of a diuretic. So we like a little water to give us big, juicy veins to find. But
there you go. You know, so now we've kind of explained it because I wanted people to understand, you know, of course, my buddies are going to be like, okay, yeah, we're good. You know, we don't need this little object lesson. However, you know, when I was first when it first came to me that, oh, you had this option, I seriously had no clue what they were talking about. And then, and that's why I chose not to do it in the very beginning. And, you know, the fact that it goes directly into the mainstream, you know, bloodstream and then I had it wrong. I thought, oh, well, then they'll use it for all my surgeries and everything. We'll be good. No, they just used it for chemotherapy for me.
Yeah.
And
technically, they can also use it for all the other stuff too.
Yeah,
as long as somebody is appropriate to access it.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the big thing. So,
Right. So, but and so when we were talking about your clothing and your clothing line, and I'm gonna bring up one of your pictures here while we're talking, is that I actually did think about, and that's why I actually wore what I'm wearing right now, because I don't usually wear something like this when I'm on the show, you know, with this kind of an undershirt that's kind of lower. But I thought about that because of the very reason, you know, I did it the very first time because I went and had the outpatient surgery and then went straight over to the chemotherapy room for right. And I new experience, and I was in totally the wrong stuff. And, you know, I'm having to get out of my shirt and, you know, have my shirt, the sleeve on that one side was over my back, and I was there all day long. I was a slow drip person. And so you know, that's not a very comfortable place to be. That, you know, because you're I was totally, you know, I have to have the blanket over me the whole time. And I'm thinking, okay, note to self, no more. We're gonna we're gonna have this figured out. And it took me a little while. In fact, when when we first started the idea of Chemo Buddies, my co-founder and I, my original buddy, who's now gone on, we actually thought about designing something because we were, you know, she didn't do it, but she saw my frustration, but that's not my thing. And so I have material in my closet right now that we went and bought all this stuff to try to, you know, figure it out. And I've looked at it so many different times. And then after I met you guys, I'm like, okay, I'm so glad I didn't go there. Your thing is so much more functional. It looks great, you know, and it makes so much sense. In fact, Brittney, you were wearing one of these style shirts when I met you.
Yeah.
And I didn't get it at first. You're talking about it, and then you're like, yeah, like this. And I'm like, whoa. You know, there's something about seeing it in a picture, and then there's something about seeing it firsthand.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
And so who was the one that came up with this design or the designs?
This one. She was the creative aspect. Yeah, she was the creative genius on that one. 100%.
Yeah, so I grew up doing some fake sewing, I would say. My mom was like a 4-H master, so we were not in 4-H, so we did not have any of that, but we grew up like sewing our own pajamas. So my mom had taught us kind of how to sew. So I kind of had the idea, and I was like, oh my gosh, if this works, this would be awesome. So we ran to Target and bought a couple of different things. I pulled out my sewing machine, and we basically like chopped a few. I can send you some of the rough drafts from when I first started making them.
I would love to see. Yeah.
I basically created the prototype sewing one by hand. And I even like sent a video to my mom. I'm like, look, it actually works. Like this could actually work. So I hand sewed the first one, and then the second one, it's not very far beyond that. The second one, I had to look on YouTube to figure out how to sew a invisible zipper. So the first,
I love YouTube. I mean, you can learn anything nowadays.
so like this was the first shirt, and then you can see I like sent it to my mom, like, look, it worked. And then you have like the little hand sewn little buttons and stuff to just see, like, hey, does this even work? So that was that one, and the other one was just a secret zipper, but that was.
Right. Yeah, I have one of those. Let's see, it's rolled down, but it's there. You go.
That one's unzipped on both sides, and we had somebody be like, every time I see that picture, I'm like, oh, and then I realize you can't see anything. I'm like, that's the idea. It's not like inappropriate. It's just
right.
To the chest.
Oh, and it's much better than what I was doing, where I'm like, you know, out of my shirt, you know. I got a sweatshirt. It was because I started chemotherapy in December.
Right.
And so, it snowed that day. It was back in 2014, and it was when, and you're from Southern California, right?
Yeah.
I am, yeah.
Okay, and so it was that year that it snowed, and the 15 was even closed down for a little bit.
Whoa.
I was in that group waiting to go to the hospital to then get my little port to then, and so being the Girl Scout that I am, and so many people know because I've told so many different stories about the Girl Scout stuff that I do, wink, wink. And it was, okay, I had blankets, I had emergency water, I had all this stuff in the car, and I'm in a sweatshirt that, you know, is like up to here because it's cold. And I'm thinking, you know, and we have all these, and it was the middle of the night because we had early morning surgery to then go over for all day infusion, right? So we're literally like 3 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning there with all the big truck drivers, and we had a little Honda Fit at the time. And I'm like, okay, guys, that, you know, we're in this together, and you know, and I wasn't even in a zip up hoodie or anything, you know, because I was like, okay, it's just gonna be cold, and I'm thinking, and what if, you know?
Yeah.
And I did not even. Because I didn't quite get the whole idea of what a port was, where the placement would be. I was just going with blind faith. Okay, I totally trust my doctor. Whatever he says is what I'll do. I'm going to bring another one up because this one would have been, there you go, like, okay, so one side. And the idea, and I loved in the video, that's why I wanted to show the video before we really started talking about it, where the woman that was acting as the patient or was a patient, that she, the idea of the port going in, how that all works. And for anybody wondering, they freeze it, but I have a really high pain tolerance, so I didn't even need that. It was just like, okay, just go for it, boom. But it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. And so if you're ever considering a port, any of the chemo buddies, you haven't done it yet, I strongly am glad. I am glad I did. You got to do what you need to do, but it was the best choice I ever made. Because
they also have EMLA cream now. So they have like a numbing medicine that you can put on at home. So that way by the time you come in, it's numb right over the spot where you actually access the port. And I will say that as an oncology nurse, like the first thing I would do when I get diagnosed is get a port. Because I have beautiful veins, but I'm sure they will not last very long. So me and all of my colleagues all agree, like if I get diagnosed, first thing I'm doing is getting a port.
And free from that, all of that neat stuff. But, we don't want anybody to ever have to.
No,
but too many people are. And that's why I just like, okay, let's just dive in. And, and mine's gone. So the good news is that, I made that decision. I went through, and now it's no longer. So I no longer, but if there was ever a reason for me to have one again, oh my gosh, I'd be there in a heartbeat. And it's amazing. And this is another thing that I find so encouraging too, because I'm always talking about to all the people that come into the community of chemo buddies, because we have people that I talk to just about daily, and because there's so many, it's a revolving door. There's so many that are constantly being diagnosed. And the good news is that there's so much good news. And I went through treatment. December the 10th, 2014 was my very first day, right during one of the best cold and flu seasons there ever was. That's why we have chemo buddies for life, because my house was full of pneumonia, and the thing where I want to go is that, okay, so I traveled from Riverside County into Orange County, and that's quite a bit of a distance, right? So we were put up because we had a shot we had to have the next day or within 24 to 48 hours, right? A new Leicester shot. And you had to actually physically get it. Where I had a family member that was a paramedic that I could say, okay, can we get it signed out to the paramedic that has been a paramedic for over 30 years? And can we have that person administer it? No, we couldn't get that approved. I tried to really make that work. And if there's anybody that nice, happen, it's like, okay, so, but no. Now I love the fact that you don't have to do that. They just affix it onto you, right?
The Neulasta On Pro, it's really nice. It's a really nice option now.
And so, okay, so that's new. Now you've got this cream that you can put on before. So just in this short period of time, where I'm going with this too, is that there are so many discoveries that are constantly coming our way that are making things better. We're living longer. We're having less side effects. There's so much coming around the corner. And so when I saw the fact that you guys were really thinking outside the box, I thought that's a very good thing, because my opinion is that we're going to be done with cancer here sometime soon. I'm really hoping, and the buddies are going to be needed because we're going to have us, the new normals, that we've been through it. And then it's generational. We've got people that have had, some trauma and drama and post-traumatic stress from that period of time. So the buddies are here. However, and I've been thinking a lot about this. the fact that you guys designed it so strategically and smart, it's needed for more than just I don't want to say just, but it's needed more populations beyond the cancer population. Right. And that was very smart. Was that from the very beginning, or was that just a product of this is a great design and it will work?
It's a little bit of both.
Yeah. Initially, well, my long-term vision for Yellow Threads was actually to be the #1 company that makes medically functioning clothing for all diseases. And because I used to work in prosthetics, so I used to work with the amputee population, and they do. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so now I'm getting it. I was a recruiter. Most people know this. And so I always kind of go there. And I thought, okay, what is the background? Okay, now I get it. Okay, so keep going. All right, all right.
So I used to work with the amputee population all the time, and they would MacGyver their own clothes to make it easier for them to, get dressed and go about life. Yeah. And so I'm like, well, we can absolutely branch into that realm as well. But then we just started getting, and Brittney also, started thinking of all these other ways. Like, I always draw blood from patients all the time. Patients that come in are not just cancer patients in their infusion center. It's all different types of patients. Right. And so then we started thinking, and then we started getting feedback from a lot of our marketing for people that said, oh, well, I have GERD or I have cystic fibrosis.
Like IBS.
Rheumatoid
arthritis.
Yeah. I had to go because I was severely anemic and I didn't absorb iron. So I would have to go I knew what an infusion center was because I had to go for slow drip iron. So there's so many of us that do go into the infusion rooms beyond the cancer patients. I hadn't thought about like the prostate, like to have an amputee that has needs. I have a family member that just we had a memorial yesterday for him. He had MS and he was wheelchair bound and very frustrated in that he was you talk about a man. He was an outdoorsy fishing, hunting, would go out there and 6'4", constant. He was a piano mover in high school. Who did that kind of stuff for your part-time job? Because he was just that kind of beefy, strong kind of person. And later in life, he talked about the fact that he had to be challenged to find a way to give, and he was really about service, and it was so difficult to need someone 24/7 basically,
right?
And so it takes away that independence feeling, right. It takes away that self-esteem at times, right?
Yes, 100%. Yes.
So all right, so another question I had for you guys, and I was just like, no, seriously, I'll do that again, guys. Is that you guys are not doing this on demand. You actually have spent the money and the resources, and you have product ready to go when it is needed. That takes a lot of capital, and it's not like you guys have gotten to retirement age and that you pulled your pension money. How in the heck did you do it? And first of all, hats off again for doing it the right way, because I think I even mentioned it when we were talking. It was like, how in the heck? And it hasn't been easy, has it?
I'd say it's a work in progress.
We're absolutely still 100% working on that. We try to go day by day, trying to figure out how to find more money, because really, we sat down with for another interview not too long ago, and the guy had asked us about the ignorance of jumping into business, and because we had no idea how much money it would actually cost to design just one shirt, or to order products in general. And obviously doing business in the stateside versus, exporting all of our stuff to China or those other countries, it's a little bit more expensive.
Right.
And but when we first got started, we were in a pretty good place financially speaking. We were able to go from my personal debt. She came into the relationship with zero debt, which was fantastic. Like out of college, like I was the typical college kid, $50,000 in debt, working 2 jobs, living at home with my parents, like the typical college graduate. That was me. And by the time that we got married, we went from my $50,000 in debt to $0 in debt within a 1.5 period, 2-year period. And then after that, a year later, we were about $34,000 in the green. And we knew we wanted to invest into something. And we wanted to start up our own business. We just didn't know exactly what it was. And when Brittney came with the idea, I'm like, this is an amazing idea. We should really run with this. And that's when we invested our savings into our company. And that's really how we got the ball at least rolling. Was we were good financially. And then we knew that we were going to acquire debt, and we at least got rid of all the bad debt. Now we have business debt, which we're not, obviously
we're still figuring
out how to pay it all off.
Yeah, no, I get you on that one. I mean, anybody that is entrepreneurial or may I say, kind of doing a nonprofit the back way, the backwards way, where I didn't have a for-profit to decide to do it because of tax reasons.
Mm-hmm.
It was because it was needed, and similar to what you guys did. So you decided that, and that's why I really have wanted to fight. I really have wanted to, and we've been trying to get, this show up, and I actually want to do a few shows with you guys and some articles and really highlight and get you entrenched in the community, because I am so absolutely impressed by the fact that you did it the right way. You did it because of heart. You decided to keep the manufacturing here in the United States, knowing that it's going to be more difficult, and it is something that you guys have been funding. And yes. And Brittney, you're working full time, and then doing this, and then of course Ashton, you're working full time with the business, and then taking on the coaching. These are 24/7 kind of 365 days of awesome, kind of situations, right? Because it's like, all right, there's a greater goal, there's a greater need, and you see it, you taste it, you know it, you're living it, and you both coming from that industry. And so that's why I wanted you really to talk about how you got to this place, because what I would love to see, and this is why I have wanted to start these conversations, is I do believe that what I'm doing, what you're doing with some of my other nonprofits that I'm teaming together with, because I'm a very collaborative type of a person, and I believe that there's something in that synergy of like, like we're like-minded in the fact that we want to do it the right way. We've got the right heart, and you are servants and service heroes that are bringing something to the market that is absolutely needed. And so, things like, I know that you're not a nonprofit. I'm glad you're not a nonprofit. You need to be a for-profit. And guys, there are such things as for-profits with a heart. And that's exactly what you are. I want to really make that very clear for anybody that's looking, is that your company needs to be a for-profit company, because you two need to be in charge of it. I really honestly believe that. And anybody wants to argue with me, go ahead, bring it on. Because, I'll sit here all day long and argue with that one, because you two have proven to me that you have your hearts in the right place. You come up with great designs. I love the fact you went to, did you say Target or Walmart?
Target. We just
Target. I mean, shout out to Target. Okay, guys, now Target, you need to be talking to them. We need to start thinking this way for you guys. And there's got to be any of my friends that are watching this that have grant abilities. I need to talk to you too, but we need, because I know that you can write for grants for profit with a cause. This is an underserved community that absolutely needs these products. And so you should be able to be putting out there for grants. And then don't you have, or didn't you start, or you've got amazing videos. So have you done any kind of Kickstart campaigns, and how have those gone, or where are you at with that?
So the video that you played was for a Kickstarter. We tried it out, but we did not do probably adequate advertising in advance. So we were trying to do pre-sales so that way we could cover the cost of manufacturing, and it didn't end up going through. So we ended up just biting the bullet and going for it anyways. So we actually will probably look into maybe doing another Kickstarter. We're going to start a kids line that's all superhero themed. So superhero clothes for the kids that are going in for treatments. So we have a few different things that are in the works that we have to figure out how we're going to fund them. We'll get there.
Yeah, we're super pumped about our kids line. I mean, we've been working with some foundations down in San Diego, and these whole superhero theme really lines up with our core values, which is instilling hope, instilling confidence, instilling bravery, self-esteem. And really, I mean, when these kids, when they interact with superheroes, they feel that, and our main goal with our superhero line is to actually give that to them and make them their own superhero. And we started a program back in November, which was, we kind of stumbled upon it. We did some marketing stuff, we did some tweaking back and forth, and what we found was this program that we entitled, because we couldn't think of a better name at that moment, which was the Donate One program. And all it is basically donating a shirt or sponsoring somebody to get a shirt, and we did at no cost. And so basically, because we know how much chemotherapy can cost, and the bills can really pile up.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. In fact, we talked about that, the cost, and you had said that you had taken that into consideration, and that is one, because the thing about cancer, and again, guys, this is reality. We're talking reality here, and if this is an uncomfortable subject, I'm sorry. However, the reality of 2018, the numbers were 1 in every 2 men and 1 in every 3 women would hear you have cancer in your lifetime. That's a huge number. Okay, we're not even taking into consideration the children. And this is a number in the United States. And it crosses all boundaries. There's not one boundary that cancer says, oh, I won't go over here because, you're safe. You get the safe card. No, there's no safe cards when it comes to that. And so, there will be some people that can afford the shirts. Absolutely. And they may even want monogrammed specialty shirts. Who knows? That would be great. I hope that you someday have something like that. And so then you can just, making amazing amounts, because, bottom line, guys, money is energy. And if we haven't understood that yet, it's a really good thing to understand, because in truth, there is plenty of it to go around. We just have to figure out the right ways to unlock everything so that the right things take place. And so the fact that you had that one program,
so we started the Donate One program just kind of out of a fluke, just to see if we wanted to give away 100 shirts. That was our mission. We were like, hey, when we launch our clothing in January, we want to be able to give away 100 shirts. And so we launched, this was a program that we started just to see if we can get some funding to give away these shirts. And we made enough funding actually to give away 100 shirts. And so that's exactly what we did. And so we were super pumped about that. And I think it was so fulfilling because when we were sending these out, we were sending out to people who were currently going through active treatment, and we were getting feedback from them. And some of them, because these women are just so excited for getting these shirts, because it was a gift from somebody that they never ever met before. And I remember one of them, we got a response back from her via video, and she was just so, like, she just got it, and she's like, I am so excited for this shirt. And Brittney was watching it, and it
was the day of the event, actually. I stepped out of the event and I was like, if I was not in public, like, I'd be bawling my eyes out because this is so cool.
Yeah, because now we finally saw the fruit of our labor actually coming to fruition with these women that were going through chemo treatment, and just seeing how grateful they were and for the shirts and
the impact it made in their lives.
And the impact, absolutely. And they still wear it to their chemo treatments to this day. And and so we decided, hey, you know what? For our kids launch, that's exactly what we're going to do again. We're going to do another Donate One program, but this time we're aiming much bigger. And so my long-term goal is to make every single kid that's a child that's going through chemotherapy treatment a superhero. And to start us off, we're going to try to hit 1,000 shirts to give away this May. And I mean, it's a big goal, but we're super pumped about it because we're partnering with a hospital down in San Diego, Rady's Children's Hospital.
I was going to ask if it was Rady's, because Rady's is such an amazing organization, and they, anybody that lives in the Southern California area and has children, they know them, because if they've ever had to have any kind of specialty care, I mean, I've had my kids, now my grandkids, ambulanced down there, and they've always taken care of them. And I am so pleased that they are working with you, because and if you don't know, many hospitals, I mean, there's different organizations within the hospital, but hospitals are nonprofits, and then they have their for-profit areas, and so that it all works together. But so that makes a lot of sense. I'm so thrilled to hear this.
Yeah, and we're absolutely and we initially had started talking about this, and we still need to figure out financially speaking how we're going to be able to do it, but working with insurances to take care of the shirts as well, because really our biggest goal is to mitigate the costs. That's our big goal, is to mitigate the cost so that it's something that patients can afford.
It's more accessible,
and it's more accessible for them as well. So that's our long-term goal as well for our tops.
So how can people help you now? I mean, I know that you had on there donations. They're donating now. You are not a nonprofit, but they can still donate. It can be a business donation, so you can receive business donations. What about any kind of? Are you going to open yourself up to any type of business sponsors, or are you interested in finding companies that might want to team with you and in some kind of a percentage situation? How is that? Because there might be some watching that are saying, hey, I love this. I see the business genius of it. I like them. Are you open to something like that?
We are always open to collaborate and talk to people and see what the options are. Obviously, we're still newer to learning all the ins and outs of business, so we never turn down a phone call or a conversation with people who have something that they think would be helpful or synergistic to what we are working on. So we are always open for collaboration to kind of talk it out and see what the options are. But we would love to find some strategic partners that would be helpful, or we love sponsorships, we love donations, we love all that stuff.
Yeah, and it's going to help, because you guys are doing this as, yes, entrepreneurs and a genius idea. However, you're doing it also because it's a passion project. Am I right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. to put as much time and effort as we have already into it, 100%. That is exactly where it is at this point. And I think the beauty of working in such an amazing field, especially after interacting with some of the patients that got our shirts, it really has broadened our horizon and actually pushed and gave us that little bit of fire in us again to keep pushing forward and figuring things out. And it's amazing how things just work out. You know, when you're doing things for good, things just work out. And so
or there's people that just randomly are put in your life, like
yes,
meeting you at an
yes,
event and
exactly.
stuff like that. Just doors.
I know. What were the odds? It was meant to be. It was just absolutely meant to be. I had no question. And then the fact that we kept having issues with the timing of doing this, I kept thinking there's a reason for this. There's a reason, one reason or another, you know, and it's always been what I've seen, because I've been sharing that. It's amazing how this show, I have now witnessed that there's been some collaboration that has taken place. People have featured, and then someone's contacted them, and then they've been able to go off and do something over here. And there's been some really good synergy. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's meant to be that someone's going to watch this and it's meant to be now, or it was, okay, it's really meant to be, and there's going to be some obstacles, because anything that's good, there's always usually a few, you know, bumps in the road to make sure that you really want it. And so I'm going to ask, and then we're going to close up. But do you have any of the prototype pictures of the children's hero stuff? Because, oh my gosh, I'm like totally excited about that, you know.
You took the one from the website, yeah?
So there's one on our website, and it's kind of, it is 100% like what we're going to be going for. And so we're going to pull it up right now. We're still trying to, so this is the back of the,
so this is just kind of, it's capes. Essentially just the capes.
Oh, I love it.
But it would be essentially like our long sleeve or short. I guess we'll probably do short. We haven't figured that out yet. Long versus short sleeve with the little zippers. Yeah. And then just the cape that goes with it.
Exactly.
I love it. Can I suggest something?
Yeah.
I would do both if at all possible. If finances allow. I know you have to retool and everything whenever you do any little change, but there will be some kids that run hot. And there will be some that run amazingly cold. And so I'm just thinking in that way that you won't be limiting those children out that run the other way, because I know that that I've been associated with some kids that are having some of the issues, and they don't want anything even on their skin, you know. So that would be, you know, that short sleeve kind of idea. But then there's those other ones that it's like they're so cold that you know, the idea of wearing a short sleeve would be almost too much, and then they may not want to put something over their cape, you know, to warm up. You know, I'm just thinking.
Yeah, it's always a tricky situation. Even with our tops that we have right now, we've looked at it in a sense of dressing up or dressing down, right? We'd rather be on the dress down side, so you can always put a sweatshirt on top of it.
Right.
But, I guess it's. If we had the finances, we would love to create both, right?
And I hear you. That's why I just said, you know, that's why I asked, and then I get it. Because like you, Brittney, I was a little junior sewer person. I had a doll line at one time that sculptured dolls that I did, and they're all, you know, they were all unique and custom designed. And so I've been there, I've done that, and so I kind of understand the whole deal. So all right, so let's do this. I would love to have you guys on again. We're going to start on the Chemo Buddies page. I put it out there, and it was like such a no-brainer. I had such a huge reaction that we're going to start having like a coffee club kind of thing. It'll probably be once a week, and you don't have to drink coffee, but it will just be kind of come as you are in the morning to share. And and it will probably be on, I haven't got it completely figured out yet, but it most likely will be in some kind of a private setting. And so it would be great to invite you guys on, even if we had to do it a special day, to accommodate for your schedules in the morning. But then that way the buddies, because we have this now, and I'll chop it up a bit, and so that we could then share what it is that you're doing, and then we could have them show up and they could ask questions, question and answer period, about this, because I think that it would be amazing. And then if there's anyone, are you going to do another one of those programs for the adults? One of the giveaways?
The donate one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the donate one is for the adults right now. I think as soon as we officially launch our, what do you call it?
Our kids line, our superhero line?
No. Once we officially launch like our advertisements and everything to like start the production of the kids line, then there'll be a separate one.
Okay.
Yeah,
one for kids and one for adults.
As of right now, the Donate One program is in full force for both the kids and the adults. So you can actually choose which one you want. So we're going to try to, once the kids go into full effect, we're going to 100% start promoting the kids, just so we can get the initial fundings to get the initial shirts out to those kids in May.
Wonderful. Because I know some of the chemo buddies right now that are financially in such horrible shape, if you will.
Yep.
And they are currently in treatment, and they could certainly, I'm just thinking, I'm sure they're going to be like, oh, where can I submit my name? And so when we're done, do you mind in the comment area putting as much information as you want? I mean, please, how can someone donate to you? How can people get a hold of you if they want to team with you? How can someone sign up to be considered for the donation program, to receive a shirt? And any of that, because I know that what you're doing truly is it goes hand in hand with everything that our nonprofit's all about, and that is healing through connections, that we are healing with humor, hope, and heart, and that we are creating that buddies network, that community that we want to go forward, and we're helping each other to do this. And so the idea that possibly even within the buddies community, I would hope that there might be some in the buddies that would say, okay, yeah, I can donate for another buddy, or however it may be, because the bottom line, if you can feel better for whatever, in whatever way, they're going to live. They're going to live. And that's what it's all about. It's about life.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Quality of life.
Absolutely. That's the whole goal, is to get you back to defining your life by who you are, not your diagnosis. That's really kind of our motto that we've been stating, and we want to bring you back to living your life.
I love it.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And I love it. I didn't even get to all your chemo hacks and all this other stuff. I love those too. Can I just say those are fun? I pulled so many of them, but I knew that this show was going to just be an icebreaker for what I'm hoping is going to be us saying, we are all about you guys. We want to see you thrive. We want to see you succeed, because we need you. We need you to succeed. And just being the stellar individuals that you are, and doing it in such the right way and for the right reasons. I mean, who out there is not just saying, okay, yeah, these two people have it.
No.
So let's let them go forward with it. Let's support them one way or another. So thank you.
Wow, that was amazing. We appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, you can tell that I kind of believe in you two.
Maybe a little.
Yeah, I was like, just a little bit. Thank you,
Yeah, I mean, I've only been touching base with you, Ashton, nearly every week. It's like, okay, can we make it work this week? Can we,
Right.
it finally worked, So do that in the comment area. And then any of the buddies, please share the love. Share this video. And any of the service heroes, please do the same, because bottom line is, if you don't know someone that's affected by cancer, I'm so excited for you.
Yeah.
Too many are. And so, the degrees of separation, if you start sharing this, because there are going to be people that are going to see this for the genius that it is, and let's support it, because it's something that's homegrown here in the United States. It's going to produce business multiple different ways, and we're going to be helping people to live a better quality of life, and with a buddy, a longer life. And
there we go.
and so how can you not win?
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
All right. So add all the information in the comments area. And is there anything that you'd like to say before we close?
Otherwise, you can just follow. We are on Facebook and Instagram. Both of them are Yellow Threads Co. And then if you ever have any questions or something on our website, I believe on our website there's an option to contact us. So if there's any questions or any ways that we can be supportive, we love to kind of help out in any ways we can.
Absolutely.
So don't hesitate to reach out and let us know.
Absolutely.
I have an idea. Have you ever thought of doing fashion shows in the chemo room?
We have. That was something that one of our board members actually was telling us, that like to do it with nurses and everything like that. But we are in the process of looking into a lot of different things right now to try to get the information out. But I think that would be awesome. Do you know of any fashion shows that you're secretly holding out on us for?
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, but I wouldn't mind doing some connecting and possibly being involved in something. There might be something happening, but you'd have to travel. We have to figure this out. In Albuquerque. I'm going to be talking. I'm going to be talking with some of my other nonprofits, and we're going to be putting something together, I think, third or fourth quarter. So that might work. And so let's talk about that. The bottom line here is that you guys just go so well hand in hand, hand in glove, in what it is that I'm up to, and some of my other nonprofits that are supporting the cancer world are up to, two of which are supporting the children. So, let's just make this all happen. So, okay. So we've got it set. We're gonna keep going forward. You guys share, and share some more.
Absolutely.
And so you two, Ashton and Brittney, as we close day number 205 of 365 days of awesome, celebrate success through service. You two are service heroes to the nth degree. Exclamation point, highlighted, bold, the whole deal. You two represent everything that I believe is going right in this United States of America. Everything that's gone right in our education system. Everything that's gone right in the idea of creating entrepreneurship, that people can say, okay, I will stand up and I'm willing to do the work and I'm willing to make the sacrifice. Now, let's go forward. You guys are everything. You epitomize everything. And I just think that you have so much to offer, and I am privileged to know you, and I am honored to be able to do something as simple and as humble as W Service Heroes. So
thank you so much.
Yeah, you're doing amazing works with your chemo buddies as well. So we appreciate, and we are super glad that we're connected with you. So thank you.
We really appreciate this chance to kind of support your community, as well as let the rest of the world know that there are some options out there for comfortable clothes now. So
yay.
Thanks so much for having us on your show.
All right. Well, it was a little long, but it's so worth it. So share some more. Please put that you watched it live or replay, and put the information in there, and then let's just go forward and make things happen. All right.
Thanks
Thank you.
so much.
All right. See you guys later.
Bye.
And
Bye.
everybody tomorrow on Service Heroes. Bye.
Bye.